Billy back here with Broship of the Nerds, and today I will be reviewing 1982 John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, before I talk about that, I want to talk to you about my love of horror in general. So, I've watched horror here and there over the years. It's not a genre that I could just sit there and watch horror film after horror film after horror film for years on end, right? I like to have comedy, I like romance, I like action, I like superhero, I like variety, I like stories, right? I like stories. I'm a storyteller. I like being able to watch a film and discuss it. I went to a horror convention near Chicago. It's been a couple of years ago, and Flashback Weekend, and I had a blast. And while we were in line to see a live screening of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which I had never seen, but the big draw was Alan Howarth, music legend, was going to be playing music live to the film. And it did not disappoint. But as I was in line, I met this really cool guy, and we started discussing horror. And I told him I've seen very little compared to other people there. And he asked me what I was into. And at the time, I told him I was into slashers with some comedy. I don't like overly gory, but I like some humor. So I enjoy the Scream films, the Fear Street films on Netflix are amongst my favorite. And I Know What You Did Last Summer, those sort of things. I don't like just like torture gore or anything like that. I like a story, like who's doing it and why, right? That's what I like. And then I discovered a second subgenre I adore, and that is isolation films. Movies like Abigail, where there's some humor, some horror, and like, oh, they can't easily just escape the premise. So, the guys that did Ready or Not, Scream 5 and 6, and what was the other one they did? Abigail. I love those guys because the idea that the characters are stuck somewhere, The Shining, and they just can't just get in their car and leave. Like, it's not that simple, right? Like, there's stuff going on. Like, they're either locked in the house, other characters are trying to kill them, they're just fighting to survive. So I sat down and watched John Carpenter's The Thing with my buddy Eddie from the Trick or Treaters channel we have, and I was tired that day. So I couldn't really get into it as much. And when I did a little research on this movie, the budget was 15 million and it made 20 million. It made me think, why didn't it make a lot of money? Well, back then, a lot of people considered it gross or depressing or whatever, but it's become a classic, cult classic. John Carpenter's films, Vampires, absolutely love that film. And there's still a lot I need to see. The Season of the Witch, but the original Halloween. But the movies I have watched, I've enjoyed because I like his style. The soundtrack always slaps. It goes perfect with the film. So when I sit down to watch John Carpenter's thing, I look outside. It's cold. There's still snow on the ground. Turn up my heat. Turn out the lights, and enjoy a nice winter isolation film. And I like the idea that these characters are out there, and at the beginning of the film, you have these people this guy from Norway flying and shooting at a dog, and he arrives and tries talking to them. Of course, they don't understand him because he doesn't speak English, and he shoots one of the guys, and so they kill him, and then they learn about the thing. There's some sort of creature that can take over and even imitate the thing it has taken over. And with enough time, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So throughout the film, the characters aren't trusting each other. They're stuck in the middle of nowhere. They reach the Norwegian base and discover what happened there or whatever their theory is. And I've learned that there's another film that gives you that side of the story before the guy goes over to their base and goes crazy. So I'm interested in seeing that. But when I watch this movie, the characters, yeah, they're not the most, they don't have the most depth to them. But this is one of those like large cast, and paranoia is like the big key here. So no one trusts anybody when you get a certain point in the film, and they undergo a blood test, and that's where we get the infamous couch line, which is hilarious. But I'm really glad my buddy Eddie introduced me to this film. Like I said, it's isolation, middle of the winter. They're stuck in this, or the winter's just begun, they say, but they're stuck in the snow. And I want to see Escape from New York, and I need to go back and rewatch the original Halloween. but it's a 12-man research team in Antarctica. There was an alien buried in the snow for over 10,000 years, and it escapes because the Norwegians, we find out, they actually accidentally freed it. So at the end of the film, you only have two characters left, right? McCready and Childs, and you don't know, because we saw what McCready's character was doing, but we don't know if any of them at this point have been taken over. So they sit there and accept their fate that they're going to freeze to death. Now, you can argue maybe one of them or both of them are now the creatures. So if they die, they hope there's nothing else living that this creature can attach to and just goes back into hibernation. But the other fear is, what if they did get out? What if they both live and they make it out, and then A, both of them are human, nothing happens, everything's cool, and the creature goes back into isolation. B, the creature's already in one or both of them, and it takes over the world, like predicted with the computer projection that was looked at earlier in the film. Or none of them are infected and they just kill each other and end it anyway. So there's just a lot of, they left it open ended. I like that Carpenter did that. Sometimes you don't need the story to be wrapped up in a nice bow. You can have a open ending. So I like that the viewer has to decide. Not in every film. I like having a clear ending in movies, right? Like, I'm one of those, I do enjoy it, but whenever it's left open ended, I'm not mad. Not always, unless I consider it more laziness rather than the goal of the story, right? So if the goal is to leave you wondering, cool. But if it's just, oh, we couldn't figure out an ending, so we just left it open, that's when I get annoyed. It's more laziness rather than that was the end goal of the story. So, and my friend, he actually met, Chris, he actually met some of the cast from The Thing because they were there at the convention. Of course, I hadn't seen it yet, so I didn't know. Maybe, no, I don't think I had yet. So I didn't know exactly what to expect, but I ended up meeting Sam from Trick or Treat's actor instead, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's made me like horror more, and it's made me want to go meet more people at conventions. Now, this is not a film I will rewatch over and over and over again. It's one that I'm happy to have in the collection because when it's cold like this and snowy, this is the type of film I enjoy watching. And I would like to show this to some of my other friends who have not seen it to see what their take on it is because I love discussing films. So, yes, this is one that to me is a must have. I think my favorite Carpenter film that I've seen and remember thus far. I still need to go back and rewatch the original Halloween, but I really enjoy They Live and Vampires. I think Vampires does not get enough praise. I'm a vampire fan, but I love the way they did their vampires. They're intimidating, they can fight, they're fun to watch. But They Live is probably my actual favorite Carpenter film because I'm a big Rowdy Piper fan. I grew up watching wrestling, and Rowdy Piper is, to me, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, just with his character, his promos, his ability to wrestle and to tell a story in the ring. Piper's Pit, of course, legendary. But yeah, John Carpenter's The Thing. Highly recommend if you like isolation films or you just want something to watch while it's cold and you're inside when you can stay warm. That is the perfect film for you. So I highly recommend it. That's all I have for now, guys. Take care, and I will be going tonight to see a film in theaters, and that review will be up on the channel probably by tonight. That's all I have. Have a good one.